So, in this topic, we're focusing on how to add sound effects and music to a game in Unity. So, which is an essential part of making a game feel immersive and engaging. So, audio can make actions like firing a gun or defeating an enemy feel more impactful, and the background music can set the mood and make the game experience more enjoyable. So in this topic, we are going to discuss about sound effects, music. Sound effects are short audio clips that play with specific in-game actions like gunshots or enemy noises. Music is typically longer audio clips like background music that runs continuously or loops during gameplay. So music isn't usually tied directly to specific actions but provides atmosphere and pacing. And we'll also discuss about Unity's audio capabilities. Unity supports a wide range of audio file types that can play both 2D and 3D sounds. So 2D sounds are unaffected by location and are typically used for UI elements or background music. 3D sounds are attached to objects in the game world where meaning their volume and direction change based on the player's position, which is great for environmental sounds or character actions. So first thing we do is import sound effects. We'll start bringing audio files into Unity to use as sound effects. These short clips can be linked to specific game actions, and the next step would be playing the sound effects. When we'll program sound effects to play in response to certain events in the game, like an enemy growling when it spots the player, or a gunshot sound when the player fires. And next step would be setting up the audio manager. So an audio manager is a script that organizes and controls all the sounds in the game. It allows you to control volume settings, mute sounds when needed, and apply global volume adjustments. And the other step is next step is adding and optimizing music. So music files are often large, so you will learn how to import and optimize them for performance. We'll also program the music to play or stop at the right times, like when the player enters or exits certain areas. And the last step is controlling and fading music. So we'll separate volume controls for music and sound effects, letting us adjust each independently. We'll also add crossfading between music tracks to make smooth transitions, which keeps the audio experience from feeling abrupt. So audio is vital because it enhances the player's experience by making the game feel more alive and responsive. Even a simple game feels more interactive with sound effects that react to player actions, and well chosen music can help set the tone and make the game world feel more cohesive. So in this topic, we'll be working with a pre-built game demo, especially specifically a first-person shooter from the other chapter. We'll add sounds to existing actions and enhance the environment with background music. Uh, so by the end of this chapter, this topic, you'll know how to import and set up sounds for various game actions, organize and control these sounds with an audio manager, use music in the background and control it separately from sound effects. So these skills will allow you to make your games more engaging, providing players with a good experience. So first topic is importing sound effects in Unity. So to import and use sound effects in Unity, it's helpful to understand the basics of audio formats and how they are handled. So let's walk through these concepts and the steps to get your sounds into Unity in a simple, clear way. So Unity, first step is understanding the audio formats. So Unity supports various audio file formats. uh, WAV WAV is a uncompressed audio format commonly used on Windows. It has no quality loss, but it's perfect for short sound effects where you want the best quality without worrying about file size. And we have AIF, which is similar to WAV, which this is a AIF uh, is an uncompressed format commonly used on Mac. So also good for high quality short sound effects. And we have MP3 and OGG. So these are compressed formats, which means they reduce file size but may slightly lower sound quality, which is ideal for longer sounds like background music, since smaller files load and play faster. And we also have a MOD and XM. These are tracker formats, specialized formats that use sequence of notes to create music. So these formats are less common but can be efficient for digital music. So which format should you choose for short sound effects like gunshot or click sounds? It's best to use WAV or AIF, since these sounds are short. They won't take up much space. For music or other long audio clips, go with a compressed format like MP3 or OGG to save space. So Unity can compress audio files when you build the game. So even if you start with uncompressed WAV files for development, Unity can handle the final compression, making it more efficient. So next is how digital audio works. So digital audio captures sound as a series of waveforms. Sound waves are vibrations that move through the air, and different sounds create waves with different sizes and frequencies. Audio files record these waves in small samples taken at very short intervals. We have higher sample rates, which are more frequent samples, give better sound quality but makes the files larger. And we have compressed audio formats, which reduces file size by removing parts of the audio, but that most people won't notice, making them ideal for larger or background audio. You can find free sound files online. Freesound.org is a great source with free sounds in a WAV format that you can download for use in your project. Uh, and always check the license when downloading free sounds. Some are free for non-commercial use only, but while others might be open for any type of project. And the last step would be, once you have collected your sound files, import them into Unity. Is simple. Place your audio files in your Unity projects asset folder. Unity automatically recognizes the audio files and they'll appear in your project. Now you should be ready to start using these sounds in your game. So to recap, choose WAV or AIF for short high quality sound effects. Use MP3 or OGG for longer sounds like the background music. Unity can compress audio for you, so it's fine to start with high quality files. uh, Import your files into your assets folder to begin using them in your scenes. So once imported, you can attach these audio files to game objects or play them in scripts. This brings your game to life with sound effects and music. And next is so to import audio files and set them up correctly in Unity, we need to follow a few steps to ensure our sounds play smoothly and efficiently. So first step is importing audio files. First, gather your audio files, which might be sound effects or background music. Make sure they're saved in the format Unity supports. And open Unity and create a sound effects folder in your project view to keep things organized. And then drag your audio files from your computer directly into that folder. And next step is setting up import options. So now that your files are in Unity, you need to adjust the import settings to each sound to ensure they're ready to use. So we have force to mono. This option is for stereo versus mono sound. Stereo sound is two channel, which is left and right, can add depth, but mono combines both channels into one, which saves memory. So leave this unchecked if you want a stereo effect, but if the sound doesn't need left and right separation, like short sound effects, you can check this to save space. And we have preload audio data. So this option preloads the audio clip into memory, so it's ready to play instantly. Enable this for short sounds like sound effects, for example, a gunshot that need to play immediately. Leave this off for long clips like music, so they don't take up memory when not in use. And load in background. So this option allows the audio to load the scenes while the game is running, which can prevent the game from slowing down while loading large audio files. Use this for longer audio clips like background music. Leave this unchecked for short sound effects to ensure they play as soon as needed. And we have load type. So load type, Unity provides three options for how audio files are loaded. We have a decompress on load, which fully loads and decompresses audio into memory, which is best for short clips that need to play quickly. And we have compressed in memory, which stores a compressed version in memory. Use this if you need to save memory but still want fast access. And we have streaming plays the audio while loading it in chunks. It's best for long audio tracks as it keeps the file size small but requires more processing power. So for short clips, use decompress decompress on load for quick playback. For longer audio, use streaming to avoid taking up too much memory. So compression format. So we have PCM. This keeps audio uncompressed, offering the highest quality. Use this for small audio sound effects to ensure they play clearly. We have for bris, which this compress audio, making the file smaller but slightly reducing quality. It's best for large files like background music to save storage space. So choose PCM for short high quality sound effects, and for bris for long memory saving music track. uh, and sample rate setting. So this option controls the frequency of audio samples affecting sound quality. Choose the preserve sample rate to maintain the original quality of the imported file. So once these settings are in place, your sounds should be optimized for smooth, efficient playback in your Unity project. So short sound effects will play quickly and clearly, while longer um, music tracks will load in a way that balances memory and performance. So with these import settings configured, you should be ready to use audio clips in Unity for all your sound effects and music needs. So next is So to understand how sounds work in Unity, let's break down three main components we use to play audio: audio clip, audio source, and audio listener. So these components work together to make sounds play and react to what's happening in the game. So first is audio clip, which is a sound file. So think of audio clip as a raw audio file. It's like a song file on your phone. It has the sound data, but it doesn't actually play anything on its own. So when you import an audio file into Unity, like a gunshot or footsteps or background music, it's stored as audio clip. As audio clip, as audio clip just stores the audio data, waiting to be used, but it doesn't know when or how to play itself. Uh, Audio source, which is the sound player. So audio source is what actually plays the sound. You add a audio source component to any object that should produce music, like character, a door, or a weapon. The audio source need to be given a audio clip to play. So once audio clip is assigned, the audio source knows what sound to play. So we have two types of sounds: 2D sounds or 3D versus 2D sounds, 3D sounds. 2D sounds play without considering the listener's position. This is like the background music that plays at the same volume and pitch, regardless of where the player moves. Whereas 3D sounds are affected by distance and position. If a car honks in the game, you'll hear it louder as you approach and quieter as you move away. The audio source's position in the 3D world helps Unity figure out how the sound should change based on where the player is. So this is great for making sounds feel like they're coming from a specific places in the game world, making the experience more realistic. And we have audio listener, which is the player's ears. Audio listeners is like the ears of the player. It's the point from which the player hears sounds, capturing all the sounds projected from the audio sources in the scene. So Unity's main camera, the one that shows the player's point of view, has a audio listener attached by default, and the audio listener makes Unity calculate sound based on distance and direction. So if the player's camera moves closer to or further from a sound, the audio listener detects that and makes the sound louder or softer. So how they work together? Imagine you have a radio in a room. Audio clip is the music playing from a CD in the radio. It's the source of the sound data, and the audio source is the radio itself. It plays the music for people in the room to hear, and the audio listener is like a person walking around the room. As they move closer to the radio, the music sounds louder. As they move away, it sounds quieter. So to set up sounds in Unity, you basically just import audio files into Unity as audio clips and attach a audio source components to the objects that should produce sound, like a car for engine sounds or a door for door sound when it opens. The main camera should have a audio listener, so the sounds change depending on the player's location. And you can use Unity also has audio mixers for more advanced and sound control. They let you adjust multiple sounds together, apply effects, or change pitch and volume. So this is useful for complex sound management, like balancing background music with sound effects, but it's not required for basic audio functionality. So the key points here is: audio clip is the sound data, what you want to play. Audio source is the player, what plays the sound, like a speaker. Audio listener is the listener, the player's ears usually attached to the camera. So these three components allow Unity to play sound effects and music in a way that reacts naturally to the game world, making audio feel immersive and real. And the next topic is, so let's go over how to add sound effects in Unity, starting with how to make sounds play on a loop and then move to code based sound triggering. So we'll cover everything from adding a audio source to writing code that plays specific sounds with certain actions happen when certain actions happen. So first step is setting up the looping sounds. So imagine we have an enemy that we want to sound like it's on fire. We'll add a fire sound that loops as the enemy moves around. So first is you add a audio source to the enemy. Select the enemy prefab in Unity project panel, and you can add the component or add component and add audio source. And audio source component will appear in the inspector for the enemy, and then assign an audio clip. So in the audio clip slot of the audio source, you basically drag and drop the fire sound file, uh, and the audio clip is the actual sound file that will be played. And next step would be configuring the audio source settings. So we have a play on awake, which you can check this option so that the sound starts playing as soon as the enemy appears in the scene. We also will also have a loop. You can check that box to make sure the sound keeps playing continuously. And we should have a slider named spatial blend. So set this slider to 3D. So when a sound is in 3D, its volume will change based on the player's distance from the sound source, which is the enemy in this case. So this makes it sound more realistic, as it will fade out as you move away from the enemy. So when you play the game and listen for the sound when you're near the enemy, you should notice that as you move away, the sound fades, uh, thanks to the 3D setting. So this approach is ideal for sounds that should loop, like background noise or ambient sounds uh, tied to a specific location or character. So next step would be triggering sound effects with code. So now we'll learn to play sound effects in response to specific actions like shooting. This will involve using a audio source on the player object, then controlling which sounds play through code. So first we need to add a audio source to the player, uh, for the player object. And in the audio source settings, uncheck play on awake, since we don't want this sound to play when we tell it to through code. And set the spatial blend to 3D if you want the sound to have a positional audio. And then open the script that handles the player actions, like for shooting script, we called it ray shooter. And we add a variables to the store the audio source and audio clips. So we have a so we have serialized field audio source and sound source, which stores the audio source on the player that will play the sounds. And we also have a audio clip hit wall sound and audio clip hit enemy sound. So these two are the references to specific sounds that will play when the player hits a wall or an enemy. And then assign the audio source and audio clips in the inspector. So in the Unity's inspector, you'll see slots for audio source, hit wall sound, and hit enemy sound after adding them in the script. You basically drag the player object, the one with the audio source, into the sound source slot, and also drag the sound clips into their respective slots. And in the script, uh, find the part where you want sounds to play, like when shooting. So so we have a method called so- called play one shot. So this method plays a specific sound clip once without interfering with any other sounds. If you try sound source dot play instead, sounds might cut each other off, especially if they play randomly. So play one shot ensures that each sound plays fully. So when a player shoots, if the shot hits an enemy, if target is not equal to null, it plays hit, this one. If the shot hits a wall or other non-enemy surface, else it plays hit wall sound. uh, so when you play the game and shoot around, you should hear different sounds when you hit different types of objects, making gameplay feedback more realistic and immersive. So this method allows you to use sound effects creatively in various situations, and adds an extra layer of feedback and realism to your game. So we'll discuss about the next few other topics in the next session.